Hello and welcome back to Shakhtar's Glory, episode 37, here in the second season. And today, a little bit different. We're taking on Zorya in the league. I mean, I say a little bit different. We have had a couple of live comps against this team, but they are third in the league. Some points behind, even some points behind second place Dynamo Kiev. But I thought this was a good place to come back before we embark on the next couple of Champions League games against FC Porto. Obviously, last time out we somehow went through on away goals against Real Madrid. I wasn't aware completely of the rules going into the game. I was under the impression that away goals didn't count in extra time, but remarkably they did, and we somehow just managed to scrape our way through, and with 10 men as well, as I recall. I was just editing them videos today.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
And I was just bringing it all back, and because it was about a week ago that I had played it, maybe a little less than that, but it wasn't completely in my mind. And then watching that back, it was just like brought it all back, and it was the drama of it and the surprise, and you could hear in my voice how surprised I was that we were actually through. I was gearing up for another penalty shootout. Obviously, having beaten PSG on penalties the round before. So this team we're playing, Zorya, managed by Andre Villas Boas. I think he's been there a little while now. I'm not even sure if he is their manager in real life. He may well be. But as you can see on the schedule at the top right there, we've got Zorya today, then we've got Porto, and then we've got Ep37 in the league, and then we've got Porto, and then Kiev again. So what we'll probably do is... in fact, was the last episode Kiev? No, the Kiev game was in between the two Real Madrid games. So we're playing Zorya today. As you can see there, we have had two games since. We played Vorskla at home and Zorya at home, both resounding 5-0 wins. As you can see, Barakye is the top scorer in the league. He is the average rating in the league. He's joint assists. I mean, we've got everything there. Is that our goalkeeper with the best pass completion? It is. I mean, it's only on a few games. Romero's on Player of the Year awards, Player of the Match awards rather. He probably would be up there with the goals as well, but he doesn't factor so much in the league games while the Champions League is going. So yeah, we had those two 5-0 games. So Vorskla, pretty easy game really. They had one shot on target, but Barakye got a goal, Kolod got a goal, Polino got a goal, they got an own goal, and then Yaremchuk off the bench got a goal as well. Nothing much to say about that match really. A bit like the Zorya game, so it's probably just right that I didn't bring those, although they would have been full of goals and full of action. Barakye with a hat-trick, Paulinho with the other two, one very late on in the 90th minute. Again, we weren't troubled. We probably could have won by more. 5-0 was more than enough. Both rotated teams, and as you can see, Shevchenko's playing in both as well, possibly adding to the fact that he's got the pass completion, but I mean, most of those probably are little pass outs to the back three. So what can we read into that? Not a lot. So we are jumping into the like I said, the Zorya game right now. It's pretty much going to be, I think, the same team that played the last two league games. Obviously with, let's have a look at the schedule to have a little bit more specific look. So we have got Porto in 3 days' time. So yeah, it's very much about just keeping those players fresh who are going to play in that game. I don't think any of them are even on the bench. Possibly Leo on the bench there, but that's more out of sort of necessity really. Boyachik we're going to take out for Arabidze just in case. And yeah, we're going to jump in. So just before we do, have a quick look at the teams. We've got Kolod, the young Ukrainian striker up front. Got Paulinho in there, Barakye. Goals across that front line, absolutely. Especially Barakye from that wide position. He does like to chip in with a few. As you've seen, he's the top goal scorer in the league, and I think by quite some distance. We've got Tankovsky and Grichiskin in the middle, Sabol and Mikitsky on the wing-back positions, and then Kucha, the young Ukrainian who's been promoted from our team. We'll just take a quick look at him, because I've played him once or twice, but we haven't actually had a look at him. So 17 years old, he's come in, he's playing really well. He's got a 7.90 average in 3 games. He played in both those 5-0 games. His stats are on the rise. He's got some decent potential ability, so we're just giving him a couple of games just as the season wears on. We've got more than enough in us to beat most of these teams really. Ischenko drops in as well, and Boldenikov with Shevchenko in nets. So we'll hop in here. I've been trying to do some updates and tidying up on my laptop just to try and speed it up today. It seems to have made it maybe a little bit worse. So we'll give it a second, but if it doesn't kick in, we'll snap back to the game when it kicks in. And there it is. So we'll look at the team they're playing. Fairly similar to us is fact they got, apart from the fact that instead of having 3 strikers, they've got 2 attacking midfielders behind 1 striker. But the 3 and the 2 wing backs and the 2 in the middle, it's the first time I think, certainly I recall, they've got number 95 as a striker, certainly the first time I recall a team sort of lining up like this. So it'd be very interesting to see how this shape reacts to, going up almost like for like. They kick off, shooting left to right in the black. We're in the orange and black. And we'll see how this game sort of progresses. I am working on some kits at the moment, some new kits. I'm thinking of trying to introduce them for next season as almost like a Baraki scores in 30 minutes, just to interrupt what I'm saying there. As a sort of going back to the new ground, putting some sponsors on there. Just trying to create. I'm just having a little tinker because I've never created a kit before and it's something quite new. Mixed fortunes. I've got a few ideas and designs in mind, but keep that peeled, and I'll probably drop something on Twitter about that. Once I know they're coming along and they are something I'm going to look to use, but it's not 100% just yet. But we'll see. I've got a nice looking home kit in mind. Haven't designed it in Photoshop yet, but we'll over the coming days I'll have a look at that. But as this game's sort of going on, there's not much happening. We're getting a good few shots away. We have got an injury to Kusha, the young centre back at the back, but we'll let him sort of carry on. They haven't changed shape yet. I thought with that goal they maybe might have reverted a little bit more defensively, but no, Villas Boas is still sort of going for it there. As you can see, Shevchenko just rolling it out, absolutely adding to his pass accuracy. But we pop it in and it's Baraki again. Kolod on the wing puts a great ball in, and Baraki there again. I mean, what can you say? And he was a player that I was potentially looking about replacing in the summer. Either trying to bring someone up from one of the youth teams or something like that. But in this sort of form and this sort of goal scoring, sort of goal scoring player he is, I think it'd be quite silly. Although it could be a point that I might actually have a struggle keeping him, because I imagine there'll be some clubs out there interested in him. Probably some bigger clubs as well, I'd imagine. But they do pull one back, and is it number 95? I think it is Yuri. And it's just before half time, and it's their first highlight, and they work it out well to the wide, and they do get that space there, which I'm a bit surprised about, because I thought our defence would be able to cope with that being like for like. But great ball in, and from there we just don't deal with it. Perhaps the injury to Kusha, because that's on his side as well, played a part in that. So as I was saying about Boakye, he was in my mind as being a player that we looked to replace, but I'm not so sure now. Fred is another one that we might not have a choice about. I'm pretty sure he'll be attracting some interest. So we have to see how that goes in the summer, but hopefully we can keep hold of him because he's a pivotal player in here, and we are in the semi-finals, I think it is now, of the Champions League. I'd be very surprised if we win it this year. I don't think we're quite there. Porto, we've won one and lost one against them. Obviously the one we won was, when the group was already decided, and I don't think they put their all in. And you might say, he scored again, 2-2, 2-0 up and surrendering the lead. I think a win here gives us the league title. So, I mean, depending on the Dynamo Kiev game, maybe that if we get a draw and they lose, that might play a part as well. But that goal also came from Kutcher's side, so we're gonna change him out. We're gonna bring in Cerna can play centre back, not amazingly well, but we'll give him a shot. And Kolod and Paulinho aren't playing too well. We're going to bring Vizeo in for Paulinho. He likes a goal. Him. Paulinho's had a good couple in this run, but I think Vizeo's just that little bit better than him currently. I've lost my trail of thought of where I was. Straight off the bench, Vizeo scores. So what was that from a corner? We don't score many of those, I don't think. But Cerna, Tankovsky, sort of Boldenikov, he's a big lad. So and then Barakier wins the header down. So that's 2 goals and an assist for Barakier. So we're playing really well. Yeah, the trail of thought. Yeah, I was going about the Champions League. So Porto, although you might look at it and say, oh, it's only Porto in the grand scheme of things, they are taking this tournament by storm. You know, our group, they absolutely run manic in our group. The only game they lost, I think, was us, and that was, like I say, at the very end when they were already sort of champions of the group and finishing top. They've beaten Juventus. I forget who they've beaten the round before that, but they're taking some teams, you know, apart. And despite the other 2 teams in the group, even if we get past Porto, then we've still got another challenge awaiting us the other side. So I think this year, you know, we are an underdog. We're there. You know, as long as we're there, we've got a chance. But it's going to take a humongous effort, I think, just to get there. But we do have another one. Mikitski forces a pretty poor save from their goalkeeper, and Kolod's on there to tapping the rebound and make it 4-2. But we're going to see this game out. And 4-2, you know, it looked at a moment like we were going to give up a 2-goal lead and, you know, give up a good position. But we do get the win. I mean, I'd say on reflection of the game, a win is probably fair. 4-2 is perhaps a little bit harsh. Did we look at this Yuri bloke before? 23-year-old Brazilian. He's an interesting proposition. I don't think he's better than what we've got. Certainly not. We'll get a scout report on him just to take a look. We may have a report on him already. I think I might have looked at him before, but finally the assistant gets something right with the team talk. Let's see if that is enough to guarantee us champions. We are, 14 points clear of Kiev. 24 would absolutely be enough to have the title. 14, I don't know how many games are left. I'll have a quick look at that before we jump in the news. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 games left. So what's that? 12 points. Yeah, I think that is the title. I forgot how many we were ahead. I think it was 14. We retain it. 3rd consecutive, and I mean that's the bread and butter really. We should be winning the league every year. He's injured. No, we'll use the club doctor. I want him back for those league games. Barakke's injured. I mean, he probably won't feature in the Champions League game because we do play a slightly different system in there, and he doesn't seem to like playing on the wing quite so much. But he would have been on the bench, absolutely. We'll finalise that deal. He's sort of making his way into the team. Barakke. What we'll do, have a quick look and see if he is leading the goals by a way. Yeah, Vizeo, who's on the bench for the last game, is 2nd. So that says it all. Derlis Gonzalez, Paraguayan winger. Can play up front. Looks alright. He's got a lot of goals. Didn't really do too much previous to this season, but it could be a new manager, the new manager in there, sort of getting the best out of him. So we'll have a little scout report on him again and have a look. So the next episode obviously will be the first leg of the Porto game. We are, I think, home first. No, we're away. I think we've been home for the last couple of ties. We've actually got the away one first. So a bit of a mix-up in sort of tactical style. Normally we're going to their ground, trying to hang on to what we've done in the first leg or build on what we've done in the first leg. This one we have to try and take the initiative at their ground first and get as many away goals as we can, bringing them back to our place. But that could work in our favour as well, bringing them back to our place for the second leg, where we've been, you know, pretty dominant, pretty good home form, I'd say. How did we do against them in the groups? We won the last one at home, and we lost the opener, didn't we? 3-1 at theirs. I mean, that was the real Porto. Let's see who they've had in this year's, besides obviously our group. So there we go. They knocked out Lyon. Lyon are a good team in this game. They've got a lot of good players. They knocked out Juve quite comprehensively, really, and then obviously now they've got us in the semi-final, and yeah, looking for a place in that final. So obviously we're going for it as well. So we'll be back for the next episode where we take on Porto. Until then, I will see you later.